Mr. Shapiro, you talked about white privilege, and just this week, I had a conversation with Rachel Lazar, who's done some work, a Jewish American woman who's done some work on this area, as well as having extensive conversations with Dr. Greg Parks of Wake Forest University, who's also talked quite a bit about critical race theory. And it's my understanding that white privilege is not telling individuals that they cannot speak, but it is a term for societal privilege that individuals have as a benefit of their white skin. And I don't think that, and I think universities would be remiss to then say that because you're white, you're not allowed to say anything that's critical of white people. I didn't know that white privilege actually went into that sphere. My understanding is it's just, and the issue is that white privilege makes people uncomfortable to talk about the societal privilege that they have.
Well, to me, what I say on campuses all the time is if you want to cite instances of racism that we can all find and fight together, that's something that I am more than willing to stand next to you and fight, because that's obviously stuff that we should fight together. But when you just say that there is a white privilege out there in the ether and that by dint of birth your skin color generates for you an advantage, what you're really saying to people is that your view is less valuable because you have not experienced what I've experienced. And that is an identity argument, that's a character argument, that's not a rational political argument that can actually be taken on in any way. It's more of a cudgel and a club than it is an attempt to open a discussion.
Well, I think it's a demonstrable evidence that through society's demographics that being white has societal privileges that being black does not. But
we can talk about how that manifests, because that's
I'm also interested in what you just said now, is that you would stand next to anyone who has this. So, Mr. Shapiro, my question to you is, for Ms. Dunston, the tying the noose around the campus and writing messages that target African-American young students, would you consider that hate speech, and then would you stand next to her and fight for her?
As I say, I would. This is the first I'm hearing about it, honestly. But
really,
yeah. But from hearing about it, maybe because it's local. I mean, I'm from LA. But in any case, I'm more than happy to stand alongside her and fight whatever group was responsible for this. Not only more than happy. I mean, you're talking about the alt-right. Again, I was the #1 target of anti-Semitic harassment from the alt-right last year. So I'm more than happy to do all that. And I think there's one more distinction that has to be made. When we talk about cases like Taylor's, they're horrific, and the administration is siding with Taylor. Okay, the administration is doing the right thing by Taylor, or trying to do the right thing by Taylor, as they should be. And I think that we need to make a distinction between cases where the administration is actively participating in the suppression of speech and cases in which the administration is trying to do the right thing in order to punish people for application of crime.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Outside Punch. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because we don't sugarcoat the nonsense. We break it down straight, with a little sting for good measure. So let's talk about this exchange. You've got a senator trying to make white privilege sound like some harmless academic concept, as if it's just about societal benefits, and not a tool used to shut people up. He's painting it as this neutral observation. Oh, it's just about skin color giving some folks an advantage. Sounds innocent, right? Wrong. Because here's the thing. In practice, white privilege isn't about open conversation. It's a club. It's a way to tell people, usually conservatives, that their arguments don't count because of the color of their skin. That's not reason, that's identity politics on steroids. Ben Shapiro, to his credit, nails this. He says, look, if you want to fight real racism, actual incidents of discrimination, count him in. He'll stand shoulder to shoulder with you. That's fair, that's the American way. Fight wrongs where they exist. But when you just throw around white privilege like it's floating in the ether, you're not opening a dialogue, you're ending one. You're basically saying, sorry pal, your DNA invalidates your point. Imagine if that logic was flipped the other way. The left would burn the place down. Then the senator tries to corner Shapiro with some noose on campus example, asking if that's hate speech he'd fight against. Shapiro admits he hadn't even heard about that specific case, but immediately says he'd stand against it. He even reminds everyone that he himself was targeted by the alt-right. Now pause on that. The guy constantly smeared as some sort of right-wing extremist is out here saying he's been attacked by the actual extremists. Kind of inconvenient for the media narrative, isn't it? And Shapiro makes one more point that's crucial. There's a difference between administrators shutting down speech they don't like versus administrators punishing actual criminal behavior, like targeting students with threats. That distinction matters, because too often universities pretend shutting down conservative speech is the same thing as protecting students. It's not. Protecting students from real crime is their job. Silencing voices they disagree with is censorship. Big difference. So let's not kid ourselves here. White privilege is less about justice and more about control. It's a political bludgeon. They don't want debate, they want compliance. And every time someone like Shapiro points out that obvious truth, the left acts like he's denying history. No, he's refusing to play their rigged game. That's the punch for today. If you're tired of being told your opinion doesn't count because of your skin color, you're in the right place. Stick around, subscribe, and let's keep pulling no punches.